Timothy Finch loved Faneuil Hall. He loved meeting new people, and he would visit Faneuil Hall every chance he could. But on the 4th of July, Timothy, a U.S. Army veteran, was brutally killed there in front of witnesses. Tonight, Boston police exclusively releasing to New England's Unsolved surveillance video they hope might help them find a killer. It is the 4th of July as Bostonians prepare to celebrate our nation's birth. Just before noon, outside Faneuil Hall, near the Holocaust Memorial, a man lies unconscious on a sidewalk. This exclusive surveillance video shows the scene, and it reveals dozens of people in the area, all of them possible witnesses to murder. Yet Boston police believe few of them realize what is happening just a few feet away.
Some people that are down there, younger people not really knowing what was going on, could just, saw it as a fight, not as a homicide, and they kept going and probably just didn't realize it is a homicide.
The victim is 40-year-old Timothy Finch, an Army veteran. He is beaten to death in broad daylight on one of the city's busiest days in front of potentially dozens of people. Yet Timothy's killer is still at large. Timothy Finch's family is outraged.
To me, I felt like they watched my brother be beaten to death and said nothing. That just really makes me have the shivers that someone would do that.
It just kept playing in my head that this happened in broad daylight on the 4th of July, where there had to be thousands of people around, and in the middle of the day, that no one saw what happened.
Timothy Finch's sisters describe their brother as a gentle giant, a big man with a big smile, always eager to help. But this proud U.S. Army vet had a problem that dogged him nearly his entire adult life.
He had a demon because he drank. Timmy's whole life, it was the alcohol that really held him. Everything else, he was a great guy.
By most definitions, Tim Finch was a homeless man. He'd live with friends or at shelters. But his sisters tell me right to the end, Finch was close to his family, including his little boy, Little Tim. But the sisters say Big Tim always did things his way.
And he just had a lot of plans for turning his life around, but he told me that he had to do it himself. That was something that he had to find within himself to do.
Coretta Simpson and Doris Montgomery last saw their brother 2 days before the murder.
Tim, you look really good. You look like you're doing well. He said, well, yeah, I am.
On the 4th of July, Tim Finch planned to spend the night at Boston's Veterans Shelter. But during the day, he wanted to hang out at Faneuil Hall, one of his favorite places.
He loved that place.
It just didn't send up a red flag of fear like you would in some other areas of the city.
Sometime late that morning, Tim Finch hung out here at these benches with a group of friends. At the time, this little park was filled with people on one of the busiest days in Boston when Tim Finch was attacked.
He get hit in the head area, and we're not sure exactly what object he get hit with, but he get hit a couple times in the head, and that's about it.
And he fell down?
And he fell to the ground and he was knocked.
Tim Finch died at Mass General Hospital. His sisters got the devastating news over the phone.
I couldn't move. It was the worst thing you could ever imagine.
My husband actually took the phone call and he told me that Tim was dead. And I was just in total disbelief.
Boston police have scoured this surveillance video for clues, and they're taking a close look at the people who were in the area that day. It is possible they may have videotaped or even taken a picture of the killer. Boston Police Detective Mike Walsh tells me he's still trying to identify these witnesses.
We're just looking for witnesses that might have seen something, maybe taking a picture with camera phones or regular digital cameras that they were using to take pictures of the Holocaust or City Hall or Faneuil Hall.
Tim Finch's family is desperate for information. They are now raising little Tim. One day they'd like to be able to tell this young child what happened to his dad and why.
You look at a 6-year-old and how can you tell them, that someone was so mean and callous that they just took your dad from you?
They need to be able to look and see what Tim left behind and what the promise of his life would have been had they not cut it short in such a way.
Boston police say they're looking for a black man about 6 feet tall, wearing a red shirt and carrying a bag or white towel in his hand. He was last seen running up Congress Street.